This is the Rugby Odds, where an unlikely pundit panel of a wordsmith, a WWE legend, a rugby star, and a supermodel scour the globe, seeking best bets and bad behavior. Are you not entertained? And welcome to another rousing edition of the Rugby Odds. I was told I had to pick up the opening because John said I was on meth or on crack because it was the most boring opening. So here's an exciting opening. Welcome to John Bradshaw Layfield, the WWE Hall of Famer, Mike Friday, the three-time Olympic sevens coach, Egbelu, the inventor of words, and Irish rugby legend George Hook coming in later. Got that out of the way. Mike, I got to come at you first, Mike. I lost some serious cash on your intel that Julian Montoya, the talisman, would be leading Poe versus the Saints, and that would be a big win. Well, that was wrong.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, what Poe didn't tell us is that they decided to rest Montoya, and he wasn't even in the 23 until they had an injury, and he was drafted in late doors along with about 8 or 9 others that they rested, which is bizarre considering they were at home first game. So all I can do is wow, Gift was brilliant. Great call by Gift is what I'm going to say.
He's the king. He is the king.
He must have known. He must have looked into the crystal ball.
When it comes to the Saints, I try and stay tapped in, football or rugby.
The king.
It really is amazing because you bash the Saints and then say, all right, well, this is going to be the one instance where they play well, and you actually nail the score.
They're consistent. Hey, at least we know that's one thing. Predictability. Even if they are disappointingly predictable, at least they're predictable.
And the Saints beat the Buccaneers this week, too.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. When it comes to the Saints, football or rugby, it kicks in.
Who dat? Who dat?
Who that say they're going to beat them Saints?
Who dat say going to beat those Saints? Who dat? Who dat?
Who dat? Anyway, our records, I was the only one with a blemish. You guys were stellar. You were collective 6-0. All of you undefeated. I was 1-1, so it dragged us down to 7-1, which is still a good week. And we're gonna see if we can replicate that this week. Any comments before we go to our player of the week?
What? No, I put our eyes on?
I've never taken somas. I feel like I've done it at listening to Matt talk.
Yeah, I don't
have to do drugs. I mean, like, if I want to go down, I just listen to Matt talk. You're like just the opposite of cocaine. I mean, like just opposite.
Let's go right to our first recurring segment. What caught your eye? Mike Friday, what caught your eye?
I was a bit disappointed with this week's rugby in general. I didn't think it was a bit of va-va-voom that I was hoping for the opening week of Europe. I mean, I thought the Bath was going to be a cracking game at the Rec, but the weather ruined that. I was looking forward to seeing Dupont pomp around, but again, looks like he's finding his feet. Even though Toulouse won it, they still made it look ugly. So just a bit disappointing. And then again, the Poe team, first down in Europe. What are you doing, resting 10 of your players? Either you're going all South African on us, or what? So I just thought the whole week was a little bit yeah.
So do you think they're just going to go for the top 14 and not?
I think Poe are. I think they've gone all South African. They've picked a competition that they want to do well in. So maybe they've got to prioritise because their squad isn't as big and has the depth that the other top 14 boys that normally compete, like Bordeaux and Clermont, La Rochelle and Toulouse and Toulon, and they are in the mix for the top 14. So maybe they've just made a decision.
There should be like a competition committee that fines them or penalizes them somehow. I don't know, but it's ridiculous.
Well, the South Africans would be fined regularly then, wouldn't they?
Yeah. John, what caught your eye?
Well, I can't talk about the French tax authority, which I want to talk about very badly. Matt's scared they're going to come knocking on his door because there's some really bad
I hear tax. I get really worried when I hear the word tax.
And some big exposés he want to put on the French tax authority. Matt McCarthy wants to talk about them. But I will say that the Canetsu Liners, they have been found. They are now officially relocated as the Sharks down in South Africa because they are freaking horrible. What the hell? They got one of the best back lines in rugby, and they can't play rugby.
But they never play, it doesn't seem, for the show.
That's right.
Gift, how about you? What caught your eye?
Hey, look, man. Look, I got to add on the foundation on top of what Champ said. I'm tired of South Africans talking about, only in the professional side, that we only care about the South Africa team playing against the South Africa team, so we don't really care about what happens in any other competition. No. Shout out to the Stormers for being the only South Africa team to try all 80 minutes, all right? The Bulls decided to be like, hey, you know what? We made it an hour. We got within one. We don't need to do this anymore. All right, just go ahead. Take the rest of it, Bordeaux. And the Sharks, this is the worst all-star team I've ever seen in my life. All right? Like, this, you may as well call them Argentina basketball. But my point is, and one other thing, I love the fact that Bath absolutely bodied Munster. Just absolutely bodied them.
It's
that
bad.
Was a thing that was insane. That was aerobically disappointing for Munster. To think that this was a team that absolutely was a championship style team that was so close, just running through them. Hey, it is what it is.
Anytime you can get an Argentinian basketball reference in, you just won. You won.
You guys snuck in the NFL. You got the.
Let's go to the French Tax Authority
and the French Tax Authority. I mean, we can go anywhere. We can do anything we want. But let's stick to the show for now. The Challenge Cup, which is the second division of this European competition. I tune in to watch Stade Francais versus Cardiff. It's the pink posts, the pink uniforms, the pink seats, the pink flags, everything pink at Stade Francais in Paris. And I'm watching this thing for 10 minutes, and I'm picking up bits and pieces of the French. It's a French feed, but I feel like I have Alzheimer's or I haven't done my homework. And I'm looking, and they go to a close-up of the Cardiff player who's wearing pink. Cardiff's in pink. Stade Francais is in blue. What idiot decided that Stade Francais at home should play in blue and the opposition should play in pink? What are they doing? Are we just trying to alienate fans or just confuse them? What?
Wales is broke. They don't have enough money for the second uniforms, all right?
Well, that would explain the version of pink that they had. It looked like
I think
pink.
the uniform was red, but it just been washed a couple of times.
It got hit in the wash.
Right.
They were white and they washed them with the red socks.
How many of us haven't ended up with pink stuff? Like, what are you going to do? If you don't have anything else, you wear it.
As soon as I realized that, I turned it off. I went to a different match.
Matt, the telecast was in French. They don't give a if you're watching anyway. You're not the audience. I don't care if they're in blue, pink, purple, green.
No.
The audience. They don't care if you like it or not.
I get
All
that.
Cares about this, their French Tax Authority.
John, again, the taxes. All right, please. We don't need any levies coming our way. All right.
If the French Tax Authority watched our show, it would double our audience.
All right, moving right along to our second recurring segment, Player of the Week. And the nominees are the Stormers, Clinton Stewart, the 33-year-old fly half on loan from the Pumas in the Currie Cup, got his first, last, and only start, filling in for last week's Player of the Week, Yuri Mattia, who was out, and Sasha FM was being rested. 16 points and a huge win is one hell of a swan song. Mattia, by the way, will be back against La Rochelle. Thomas Ramos, wearing number 10 this week for Toulouse, 8 conversions, 16 points, and strategic kicking that constantly put the Sharks underwater. Ange Capuazzo, Toulouse's number 14 and Ramos' teammate, had 3 tries. That's a hat trick, John. 117 meters, that's 128 yards, Mike. And a sensational kick, chase, and finish for Gift. Mike Friday, who's your Player of the Week?
I think there's only one winner this week. And obviously I'm a big Ramos fan, but Ange Capuzzo, because his hat trick was decent and his kick and chase was sublime. He is the man.
That man is English. He actually speaks the language, unlike our host.
John.
Give me Capuzzo. By the way, how about Zebre opening up a can on them boys in the Challenger Cup?
Your Italian teams. You love your Italian teams. Gift.
Yeah, look, I'm break away from the crowd a little bit. Give it to Clinton Stewart because especially come the end, man, the Stormers really held strong against Bayonne. I was impressed with what they were able to do, and they got the win, beat the spread. That's all you need to have.
And a great story. So I'm going with the King, and because I have a weighted pick, that makes Clinton Stewart this week's Player of the Week. We're going to take a break and come back with our grown-ass man nominees and selections after this.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street.
And we are back, and it's time for Gift's favorite segment.
Grown ass man.
And the nominees are Julian Marchand, the Toulouse hooker. He and his fellow pack members annihilated the game but depleted Sharks from the opening bell. Marchand had 2 early tries, was great with his throw-ins, and played well on both sides of the ball. He did not, however, play 80 minutes. Ernie Van Rijn, the Sharks lock, the one from Sale Gift, not Durban, stood tall literally and figuratively in the lineouts, but amazingly had 31 tackles. 31! Unfortunately, his team was upset by Glasgow, who John correctly picked. Quick note, 4 Sale Sharks had 23 tackles or more, which segues to Sione Tuipulotu. Glasgow's center was someone Van Rijn and co. had to tackle often, as he had 20 carries right in the thick of it, leading the upset of Sale in a big comeback win. The scoreless last 15 minutes was an absolute slugfest. Glasgow could be a dark horse in this competition. Mike, who is your grown-ass man?
I think in light of Sione's talismanic effort for Glasgow.
Well, there's that word again.
It's different gravy. I'm full of them today. Full of them. But I'm going for Sione. I think big man carried big, led from the front, and it was a slugfest, and he came out on top, but he won. So I'm going for Sione.
John.
I'm going with Sione, also with Glasgow.
Gift.
Yep, I'm following the crowd this time, going with Sione as well. Get the win, be the man, do what you got to do.
Bam!
31 tackles. Ernie Van Rijn.
Did they win?
Ernie
Did they
Van
win?
Rijn.
Did they
Did
win?
They just lost.
Okay.
Oh, loser.
And the people have spoken, so Sione Tuipulotu.
Grown ass man.
All right, guys, we're going to take another break, bring in George, and then we'll come back with you with your Champions Cup picks, your picks of the week, and what match you want to see after that.
It is eating season. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. At Health Enhanced Foods, we got 17 baking mixes to be able to help enhance your holiday meals. Whether you're gluten-free, you need ketogenic, whether you are low FODMAP, whatever your special dietary need is, we have a baking mix for you. Go to healthenhancedfoods.com. Go ahead and use coupon code Rugby Odds to be able to get 25% off your first order. Let's get this season going. And honestly, whatever Matt's about to say next, just ignore it. It's not even worth it.
And we are back again with Mr. George Hook calling in from Dublin. George, welcome back to the Rugby Odds.
Good to be back.
George, you stirred up a little bit of controversy with your talk about scrums in South Africa. So let's get right into picking up on that with this week's recurring segment.
Headline Sweat Hook.
The headline is Scrums. How do you fix them? Should you fix them?
Well, but just before we get to that, right? South Africa have been the best rugby nation in the world for almost 150 years, apart from a period during the apartheid regime when they were out of international sport. So what we're watching today isn't unusual. In 1951, when they came to these islands, Britain and Ireland, for the first time, what did they bring with them? A scrum, right? The difference is, and I have to be very clear here, the difference is the way the scrum is refereed and the way the scrum itself is played, right? Now, I scrummaged behind the best tight head of the 1970s. Sean Lynch, I played club rugby with him at St Mary's College, packing behind Sean, tight head for Ireland. And then for the Lions in New Zealand, he destroyed the New Zealand scrum. Destroyed it. But the scrums didn't fall down, right? Now, the other thing that happened around that time was one of the great strategists of the scrum, Ray McLaughlin. So Ray McLaughlin said, why doesn't the tight head, when it's the other team's put in, and remember they got to put it in straight, why don't we bring the scrum down so low that the opposing hooker can't strike? Did the scrum fall in? No, it didn't. And the tight head's nose was a couple of inches off the ground. Ken Kennedy, the Irish hooker, was reputed to hook the ball with his head, right? Okay. So that's the big difference. There are less scrums than ever before, but they're taking forever. They're being reset and everything else. And then you have the absolute nonsense. There is a law in the book that putting the ball in crooked is a free kick.
I haven't seen that in decades.
Right. The problem is that the scrum now has a disproportionate effect on the game. The international board used to meet in the East India Club in London, right? And they'd have a dinner with the best wines and then port and everything. And then they would discuss the laws after all this wine and all this port. Despite that, they still essentially got it right. And there was a famous story of Sid Miller, the great Irish prop and Lions player and coach, scrummaging in the dining room with one of the other guys. So they understood the scrum. The people now running the game don't understand the scrum, don't understand the game. Nobody can say what we're watching is worth watching. Any event in rugby that just produces, and this isn't against South Africa, that just produces penalties and in turn yellow cards. Now, when the prop forward falls in because he's demolished, is he committing a penalty? No, he isn't.
Yeah.
He's just been over. What about if a centre comes in and he gets tackled by somebody and he breaks the tackle? Is it a yellow card on the fellow who made a bad tackle? No, it isn't. So the point is you can't yellow card people for not being good enough. You yellow card people for foul play. And the reason it's foul play is that the South African scrum is better. And they have done, Erasmus, the coach, has done what nobody else thought of up to that time. He went 6-1 on the bench. He had 6 forwards. And whoever thought about that? Whoever thought you'd have just one reserve to cover every position from 9 to 15?
Yeah.
And he brought a whole, called the bomb squad, but he brought a whole new bunch of guys in. And he saw that he could change the game in the scrum. This isn't against South Africa. This is for the good of the game.
What are you saying, that the 6-1 should be banned?
I deliberately went back to Sean Lynch in 1971. I deliberately went back to Ray McLaughlin. Why did scrums not collapse? And essentially it was that the teams scrummage. They don't scrummage now because the team without the ball knows they're not trying to get the ball. They're just trying to demolish the other team. The other team, meanwhile, is putting the ball into number 8's foot in an effort to get the ball out quickly before anything disastrous happens.
Yeah.
So even to the most unknowledgeable person watching the game, that's nonsense. So we have to go back to a scrum that simply scrummages. And the first thing you have to do is put the ball in straight. Like, this isn't new. Like, everybody's coming up with bright ideas. This has never been done before. In the same 1970s, 50 years ago, the French didn't pick a hooker. They picked 3 front rows. And they did exactly what Erasmus is doing, except they didn't have any substitutes, and the guys had to stay there for 80 minutes and more. So what we've got to do, strangely enough, is bring the game backwards. And you say, yeah, we can have substitutes, but you got to have 4 backs. That's done with the stroke of a pen. They're now suggesting you don't have to put the ball in straight into the line out. Now, the other thing we would do is we'd have to make more people go into the ruck.
You want more? You want a certain amount of players committed to the ruck each time?
Of course. What's the result? The result is there's more space out there. If there's 16 guys in here, there's only 14 guys out there.
Learn from the past.
But of course.
Yeah.
Of course, we learn from the past.
We got to get these people over at World Rugby to watch this and listen to some common sense.
Yeah, what I'm doing is I'm using the same system that World Rugby used in the 70s in the East India Club. I drink a bottle of Sauvignon Blanc before I come on the show with you, and I find my common sense increases proportionately.
Well, maybe you should drink more and then you'll have more common sense. On that note, that is this week's
Headlines with Hook.
Thank you, George.
Pleasure.
We'll be right back with John, Mike, and Gift after this.
You need your cleats? You need them tomorrow? If you order today by 3 p.m. New York time or noon LA time, they can have them to you tomorrow. Young, old, male, female, if you're playing on turf, if you're playing on grass, if you're playing in the rain, you're playing in the heat, they've got you covered. RugbyNow.com. Go there now.
Urban Rugby America is an organization worthy of your attention and donations as it helps kids that are at risk through rugby, and it's not just on the pitch, it's off the pitch as well. Indeed, our very own John Bradshaw Layfield, the WWE Hall of Famer, highly recommends Urban Rugby America and is working closely with Urban Rugby America. But please, don't hold that against them. Urban Rugby America, your donation can change a life. Here's the link where you can donate and find out more. Hey, U.S. fans, you can tune into every match live on Flow Rugby. How do we know that? Because we're on there all the time. And we're back, and it's time to make some picks, guys. Champions Cup. Mike, who do you like?
Well, I'm going to back the champions, Bordeaux. I think they went on the roads and got a win. I know they're 37.5 against Scarlets, and Scarlets, fair play to them. But I think Bordeaux are going to be gun at home, and that back three are going to purr.
John.
Glasgow is getting 8.5 points at home. And I think Glasgow could potentially win the game. I think Glasgow is coming to this competition to play, and you showed it the game before they played in this competition. They didn't put anybody out there. They got beat 23-0. Didn't show up. They show up the first game of this competition. I think they're wanting to win. Give me Glasgow at home.
Gift.
Yeah, look, I'm looking at Northampton versus the Bulls. Hey, 21.5 points is crazy. And I know Northampton won, but I think the Bulls are able to recover back from this Bordeaux loss, complete a full 80-minute game, and definitely keep it under 21.5. And I actually think they'll probably get the win, even though it's at home at Northampton.
I'm going to go with Bath on the road in Toulon. And I know Toulon has that fortress there. They win all the time there, but they were not impressive against Edinburgh, and they brought their team to Edinburgh, and Edinburgh got a great win there. I think Bath is going to pull this one out. Before we go to our picks of the week, what's a match that you want to watch? Mike?
I'm excited to watch this Toulon-Bath game. I think both teams will play attacking rugby. I'm hoping it's going to be dry down in Toulon. If Bath go with their gun team to try and turn over Toulon, who will be a very different proposition at home, I think this could be an absolutely cracking game.
Yeah.
Lots of points, lots of tries.
I agree. John?
I think certain games, almost every week, if you have enough professional sports you watch or must-watch television, I agree with Mike. I think Toulon and Bath is must-watch television. I plan on watching the whole damn 80 minutes, and I hope they, like Mike says, I hope they bring all their guns because this should be really good.
Gift.
Man, this one is one of those weeks where I'm legitimately interested in at least 2 or more games, which is not very often. In whether it's the battle of the Laters, who's gonna get the more confusing name, Leicester or Leinster?
Wait a minute, it's the battle of what?
The Laters. Right? Who can take the crown, man? Or you got Saracens, Sharks, which even the Sharks are the most disappointing all-star team, in my opinion, might be of all time for rugby. That is one game at home that will actually probably stand out the most because what Saracens team are we going to get? All right. What Saracens team do we get on the road for that one? Who's going to take the king for the lay, or who's going to get the crown for the Saracens or Sharks, man?
I'm going to go with the Glasgow-Toulouse match. John, you were right about Glasgow. They are playing well. They're stepping up. They're at home. This is going to be some match. Now let's go to John's favorite segment, Picks of the Week. Johnny, who do you like?
Well, Buckethead, since you like French tax authorities so well, you want them to come visit you, which I think they should. I'm not going with Toulon and Bath. but I'm not going with Connacht because they didn't show up either. They're freaking Irish.
They're in
So
the
I'm going
Challenge
to go
Cup.
with the team. We always wondered what happened to when you had Meadowlark Lemon and Curly Neal. We always wondered what happened to that team they played, the Washington Generals, that never won a game. They were just awful. They're now the Sharks is who they are. I'm going with Ceres to beat the Washington Generals that once was Kidetsu Liners and now the Sharks.
That's tough to follow, Gift.
They went from the Liners down to the Western Force and then decided to shift over, man. That virus just travels.
That's right.
What about the anthem?
Oh, that's right. We got to
0
throw
and
the anthem in there
32.
too.
0 and
True.
32.
What a good idea that was. Let's put a bunch of kids who aren't good enough to play pro rugby against a bunch of pro rugby players and see how they do for the year.
Twice.
Yeah.
2 years. What do you like, Gift?
Stormers, La Rochelle. I'm definitely want to lean towards the Stormers, but I feel like this is going to be a much closer game, even though it's at home. La Rochelle on the road, even though it's a French team. I'm going to go against everything my ego and gut has ever said. And I think this is going to be La Rochelle to cover, Stormers to win. I died a little bit inside favoring France, but it's still.
And also, this is largely in part, it depends on Sasha FM playing in this match.
He should play. They're playing at home.
And he's gotten a week of rest, so.
We thought Julian Montoya was going to play at home, didn't we?
I know, but that's Poe, isn't it? Top 40. Let's not bring that up again. We've cleared that up. Let that go. We've moved on.
Sorry, my bad, Mike.
We'll let that go.
Sorry, it wasn't very gentlemanly of me. Okay, I'm going to go with the Bordeaux versus Scarlets over match because I think Bordeaux at home is going to score at least 60 points against Scarlets, and that'll just rock whatever the over is. And on that note,
What about me? You don't want my one.
What the hell? You got a 3-time Olympic coach?
No way.
He's the only one on here with real credibility.
I know I fucked up your Poe result.
I mean, you've got a king on here, but you've got a 3-time Olympic coach,
I'm pissed off about the Poe thing.
That's a bit harsh.
and you ignore him?
That's a joke.
A complete joke.
How about you, Mike?
Okay, I'm not interested.
I don't blame you.
I am going for family business, Harlequins, to win and cover against Bayonne. Bayonne won't travel. Harlequins are going to play all their England stars. And hopefully there could be a young man at 9 pulling the strings for Quins. Who knows? We'll know later in the week.
Didn't we have that happen this week?
We did. He did. He come up with the last 2030 against Leinster, which was a baptism by fire, but they got a point out of it. But who knows what happens this week? So we'll all be watching that one, then, won't we, lads? We'll all be watching.
Damn right we will. We're all rooting for your boys. All of us. Viva la England.
And on that note, I want to thank John Bradshaw Layfield, the WWE Hall of Fame return rugby advocate, King Gift Egbelu, the inventor of words, Mike Friday, the 3-time Olympic sevens coach, George Hook, the Irish rugby legend, and thank you for tuning in. Don't miss MLR Weekly this week with Wallaby hooker turned California Legion CEO Adam Fryer. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Please sign up for our weekly newsletter, and please join our American Red Cross blood donor team.